children, welcome to English class. Let's keep up with the spirit of learning and deal with one of the poems from the 12th class English textbook entitled Flamingo. Today we are going to deal with a poem entitled Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, written by Adrienne. I repeat, Aunt Jennifer's Tigers, written by Adrienne. Let's see something about the writer. Adrienne, an American poet, a well-known essayist, and a person who was very much involved in the second wave feminism. She is one of America's foremost public intellectuals who have written a lot of theories based on feminism, especially radical feminism and pacifism, and the remaining aspects of American society. She has written on a variety of issues, mainly issues on identity, issues on feminism, issues on politics, on social injustice, on pacifism, which is love for peace, and even on sexuality. Okay? Now, the theme of the poem, let's deal with the theme of the poem. The poem was written in the year 1951. Now, when you're talking about 1951 American society, it is a time when people, especially the ladies, were very much bothered about the traditional norms of society. Okay, it was at the time where divorces, even though it was there in society, divorce and separation for the American wives now were not much heard of. It was unheard of. There was a stigma which was attached to divorce. So the poem was written in 1951, and it deals with the constraints of married life that a woman experiences. Okay. Aunt Jennifer is a universal symbol of an oppressed wife who wants to escape from the traditional institution of marriage as well as the patriarchal rulers of the society. Now, the man was the boss, or man is the boss, and she has written, Adrienne has written a poem where Aunt Jennifer is the universal symbol of the oppressed wife who wants to escape from the traditional institution of marriage as well as the traditional rules of society which the patriarchy follows. And the poem also deals with the freedom of expression through art as well as the permanence or the immortality of art over the transitions of human life. Now, here in the last aspect, you can actually relate this part of the poem with the poem that you have learned in class 11, namely the photograph, okay, where there also you had the theme where nature is immortal and man is transient, right? So now let's go to the glossary or the lexical items in the poem. First, I would like to deal with the word prance. Prance is a verb which means, as according to the picture which is depicted here, it means springing or jumping from the hind legs or moving by doing so. That is, springing from your hind legs or moving by doing so. Now, prance can also mean walking in an energetic way, with more energetic movement. So prance means to spring on the hind legs. It can also mean walking in a very energetic way with more movement than necessary. Now, for example, you can use the word in a context saying that children were prancing in the courtyard, right? So prance meaning springing on the hind legs or walking in an energetic way. The next word which I would like to deal with is denizen. Denizen is a noun which means a person, an animal, or a plant which is found in a particular place. I repeat, a person, an animal, or a plant which belongs to a particular place. Now, for example, you can say that the snake anaconda is a denizen of the Amazon forest. Okay, so there is one thing which I would like you people to infer from the word denizen, Now denizen, the meaning that you have seen is a person, animal or a plant living in a particular place. Now how can you connect the denizen with the words like citizen and netizen? Now it's a work that you can do when you are having your free time. Okay, so how is a denizen different from a citizen or a netizen? Let's go to the next word. The next word is sleek. Sleek, S-L-E-E-K, is an adjective which means something that is very smooth and shiny. Smooth, shiny and lying very close to the body. Now the sleek meaning smooth and shiny, it is especially related to hair, clothes or shape. Okay, where your hair, if it is very sleek, it means not even one single strand of your hair is coming out. Okay, no parts will be sticking out. But from the poem, according to the contextual meaning of the poem, sleek has everything to do with the way that you move. So sleek movement means very efficient and smooth way of walking. I repeat, sleek means very efficient and smooth way of walking. You might have noticed during fashion shows or film shows, premieres and all, how our actors and actresses, when they are moving on towards the stage or moving on the red carpet, the sleek movement that they will be having. Okay, and related to human beings also, you can say that sleek movement will be found in the youngsters when they are healthy rather than in the elder people. Let's move on to the next word. The next word is topaz. Topaz is a noun which means a transparent, shiny, yellow stone which is usually used in jewelry. It's a gemstone. Okay, and usually this topaz or all the gemstones are connected with the star signs, and topaz is connected with the star sign called as Scorpio, right? And the stars, gems and all usually, now they will be considered as a luck for the people who are born in the star signs, and topaz is supposed to be very lucky for the Scorpios, right? So topaz means a transparent yellow stone used in jewelry. Next word is chivalric. Chivalric is an adjective which is connected or related with the system of chivalry that was connected during the medieval period. Okay, now you might be wondering what is chivalry then? If chivalric is connected with chivalry, what is the word chivalry? Chivalry is defined as a quality which was practiced by or which the gentlemen of the medieval period had when they were offering courage, honor and protection for women. Okay, so chivalry means the bravery, courage, especially the protection which is offered for the women by the gentlemen of the medieval era. Now also there are gentlemen who do have this chivalric attitude towards women. For example, if you have gone to a restaurant, okay, now if a man draws out a chair for a lady for her to sit down, that is called as chivalry. Then when a lady is planning to go outside, if a gentleman opens the door for her, that is also chivalry. Then while going for shopping or when you are coming from some place, now if your luggage or suitcases are carried by a gentleman, that is also called as chivalry, right? So chivalry means showing that bravery, courage, honor and giving protection for women. Now coming to the word fluttering. Fluttering means now having some irregular trembling motions, and especially in this poem it is related to your fingers. Okay, so fingers when they are having trembling motion or irregular motion, now that means it is fluttering, it is a verb. Now you can say that if you are scared, if you are frightened, then your fingers starts fluttering. The next word which I would like you people to know is a word which you might already be familiar with, which is called as ivory, right? Ivory is a noun, and ivory, now from your general knowledge, you know the fact that it is a creamy substance, okay, a creamy white substance which forms the main part of the tusk of animals like elephants and walrus, right? And ivory is something which is and other articles. And because of this expensive nature of ivory, now many elephants are being killed, and that is why nowadays there is a ban for elephants to be killed, because there is a threat of extinction for elephants, especially the African elephants, because of this ivory. Okay, so ivory is a creamy white substance composing the main part of tusk of animals like elephant and walrus. Now the next word which I would like you people to know is massive. Massive is an adjective which means something which is large and heavy. Now from the picture itself you can see that this man is carrying a massive boulder on his shoulder. Okay, so massive means large and heavy. Now coming back to wedding ring. From our Indian culture, okay, now in Indian culture, wedding, marriage or matrimony is symbolized by our Mangal Sutra, or in South India it's called as a Tali, right? But in European culture, wedding is always symbolized by a ring, a wedding ring. A simple wedding ring without any stones, gemstones. Now that simple thin wedding ring is called as a wedding band. Now in European cultures actually there are two rings which are there. One is the engagement ring and the other is a wedding ring. Engagement ring will be having all these stones and all which will be attached to the ring. But the wedding ring which is worn on the wedding day, now that is usually a very thin, simple ring which is usually worn on the wedding day in order to symbolize matrimony or wedding. Okay. Now next meaning, panel. Now panel, from the way how the picture is depicted, it is usually flat rectangular part of a wood or a metal or a cloth, and that is usually which usually fits into something which is larger. Right. In this poem, our Aunt Jennifer, she is embroidering a tapestry which has to be hung on the wall. Right. So the part of that tapestry which is hung on the wall, that rectangular piece, now that is called as a panel. So panel, which is a noun, means a flat, usually rectangular part of a piece of a wood or a metal or a cloth, which will be usually fitting into something which is very large. Next is a word which is related to the word ring. Okay, ring and ringed. Ringed is a verb. Now this word ringed in the poem, it has two meanings. The first meaning means this, that is the act of wearing a wedding ring, where your finger is having this wedding ring. Okay, and this wedding ring shows that state of being married or engaged. Okay, now the second meaning of ringed, which is again a verb, it means being surrounded. Now here in the picture you can see a man being surrounded by a lot of people. So you can say that he is being ringed by a crowd. So the meaning ringed has two meanings in the poem. Wearing a wedding ring and then being surrounded by something. Next, ordeal. Ordeal is a noun which means a very unpleasant and very prolonged experience. Okay, so at present state, while this COVID pandemic scare is going on, you can say that your life is like an ordeal here. Okay, so it's a very unpleasant and prolonged experience, an ordeal. Now let's come to the poem. Aunt Jennifer's stylers prance across the spree, bright topaz denizens of a world of green. They do not fear the men beneath the tree. They pace in sleek, chivalric certainty. Now this is the first stanza. Let's see the explanation of the first stanza. Aunt Jennifer has embroidered tigers in tapestries. Okay, and these tapestries are displayed all over her room. The tigers which she is embroidering in the tapestry are all depicted as very dominant, very active and very brightly colored. Okay, and these tigers are a complete contrast to our Aunt Jennifer. The tapestries which are there hung on the wall, it it shows that the whole forest scene is there. Now when she is making a tapestry, when she is embroidering tigers, she's not simply embroidering a tiger, okay? The tigers will be there, and there is a complete background scene which is there, complete with forest and even with hunters carrying guns. Now the tigers are very unafraid of the hunters, and they are described as sleek, certain, proud. They are very elegant looking, they are very brave, they are very confident, and they are always in the jumping, prancing, that energetic moment. They are portrayed in such a way. But what about our Aunt Jennifer? Aunt Jennifer is a very meek, very submissive type of a wife, very subservient wife, who is depicting in the tigers what all that she wants to be in her real life. Now she wants to be as courageous and as lively as the tigers that she is embroidering, right? And she has not experienced any sense of chivalric attitude from her husband. The husband, and later on you can see in second stanza that he is depicted as a person who is very cruel, okay? So a sense, any type of chivalric sense, now it's never shown to Aunt Jennifer by the husband. Let's move on to stanza 2. Aunt Jennifer's fingers, fluttering through her wool, find even the ivory needle hard to pull. The massive weight of Uncle's wedding band sits heavily upon Aunt Jennifer's hand. Let's see the explanation. Aunt Jennifer might not be probably in the prime of her life. Now she might not be the prime of her youth. She's so frightened of her husband, who is called as the uncle. Okay, he's not given any name. He is just referred to as the uncle, right? So she's so afraid of her husband that her fingers are trembling while she's embroidering. She might be expecting her husband to arrive any time. So that fear of her husband is making her fingers to flutter, and that is why her fingers are fluttering while she's trying to pull the ivory needle. She finds it very difficult to pull the ivory needle while she's embroidering because her hands are fluttering. Okay, the wedding ring which the uncle have given her on the wedding day, now it is like a heavy weight. It's like a burden for her. The ring is not heavy. It is the marriage which has become like a prison from which she can never escape. Let's move on to the third stanza. When aunt is dead, her terrified hands will lie, still ringed with ordeals she was mustered by. The tigers in the panel that she made will go on prancing proud and unafraid. Let's see the explanation. The third stanza, depicts the extreme fear that Aunt Jennifer has towards the husband. The intensity of her fear is correctly portrayed in the final stanza in the first 2 lines. It shows that even after her death too, that is when she is alive, she is absolutely frightened, terrified of her husband. But even after her death too, she might lie in the coffin fearing her husband. Now this all shows that she is too frightened of her husband. She is extremely frightened. Throughout her marriage, she was controlled by the master. Now the word mastered by the problems, it has the meaning that she is considering her husband as the master. The husband himself is considering him as the master. Okay, and when the husband is the master, what's the wife? The wife is the slave. And even after her death also, Aunt Jennifer cannot escape from all the burdens that had ringed her, that had surrounded her throughout her married life. Now, human life is transient but not art. Even after Aunt Jennifer dies, the poet says that her tigers, which she has made on the tapestries, it will continue to live long. Okay, so even after her death, the tigers that she has created will remain alive, active, proud, and fearless. This is what the lesson is all about. I hope the lesson has been helpful to you. Thank you very much.